Let's talk about Liverpool a little. Obviously, they took care of business against Ipswich, even though that first half, Ipswich were popping, bro. Ipswich Nation. That's my second team this year, bro. Kieran McKenna. His boys were hooping, They looked really good in that first half. But Arne Slot made some changes in the second half. He kind of spoke about one of them being Jarell Quansah being replaced at halftime for Konate, who kind of allowed them to be more front-footed, move the line a little higher up. His threat in the air, able to clear danger. And just naturally as well, too, kind of like Arne Slot mentioned, Ipswich began to tire out. And Liverpool began to find spaces, and their best players were able to kind of win the game for them. Most notably, Trent, who just ran the show from right back in that second half. Mo Salah, who we're going to talk about, who just continues to be the picture-perfect epitome of consistency, consistent output every single season. Jota finished his dinner. Gravenberch, who looked really good from that position. And Luis Diaz, who I have to say, for me, is now becoming one of the most disrespected players in the league from his own fan base. But that's my opinion. Maybe I'm a little biased because I like Luis Diaz. But I see the way Liverpool fans talk about Luis Diaz sometimes. And I feel like, yo, you guys don't like him. You guys think he's inconsistent. You guys get frustrated by him. But you could do a lot worse than Luis Diaz as your left winger. Let me tell you that right now for free, chat. Honestly, you could do a lot worse than Luis Diaz. That's in my opinion. Like, I understand he's frustrating. I understand he could do a lot better. But you guys are acting like Luis Diaz is an absolute scrub. I think that's a little too far. I think you could do a lot worse than Luis Diaz. And people who are talking about Anthony Gordon, there's no guarantee that Anthony Gordon comes to Liverpool and does better than Luis Diaz. Let me put that out there for free. There is no guarantee. He could. I think Anthony Gordon's a very bright player. But I think for as frustrating as Luis Diaz is, he offers you a lot as well too that most wingers in the league can't replicate. Luis Diaz's work rate, his ability to carry the ball forward, his tenacity, his 1v1 ability. He opens up space for a lot of players because of how much he can carry the ball. For a winger, there's very few players in the league that can actually replicate that ball carrying. And yes, I understand. He's not a perfect player. He isn't Mo Salah in terms of efficiency. But I think you can do a lot worse. That's the way I see it. But this isn't about Luis Diaz per se, right? I think the main guy you have to talk about from this game is Salah, right? Salah obviously broke the record or set a new record for goals on the opening day of the season. I think it's 9 years in a row now he's done it. He reached 300 goal contributions in 350 games. And at 32 years old, every year we kind of look at Salah and the question marks are, ooh. You remember how Max Kellerman, he used to say about Tom Brady, oh, he's going to hit the cliff. Eventually the cliff is going to arrive and he's going to fall off a cliff. Every year he kept saying the cliff is going to come, the cliff is going to come, the cliff is going to come. And eventually it did. But bro, he defeated Father Time for a long ass time. I think with Salah, right, at some point, we're just going to have to accept that Salah is going to decide when he's done. Salah will decide when Father Time beats him because he's not built like every other winger in the league. First of all, you look at the way this guy kind of carries himself physically as an athlete, as a professional. Bro, have you seen the guy's abs? It's a fucking joke. It's an absolute joke. I'm not even trying to sound crazy here, but Salah is a machine. Physically, the guy is built like a super soldier. It's ridiculous. So there's no question about taking care of his body. Salah is built to go late into his 30s. And the way he's kind of adapting his game every single year. Yes, he might not be the most explosive anymore off the dribble. Not like he was a few years ago. But to kind of make up for that, he's now becoming even stronger and even more creative. Salah is now becoming a player that can hurt you in more ways than just scoring goals, than just kind of finishing off attacks. In fact, he's now become, after Trent probably, Liverpool's primary chance creator. So now he's Liverpool's biggest goal scorer and biggest chance creator. And I'm sorry, even his biggest critics, and people call me a critic, right? I'm a troll when it comes to Salah. Because yes, he's not my favorite player, but people have to understand, right? It's not because I don't think he's a great player. It's because he plays for my country's biggest rivals and my club's biggest rivals. He's the face of both of them. So inevitably, you're never going to hear me praise Salah like Liverpool fans are. I'm sorry, chat. That's the harsh reality here. Say I'm biased or whatever. We're all biased in some ways. I'm never going to be the guy that's going to give you consistent Salah praise. But one thing you can never accuse me of is being like a guy who's unfair on Salah. I think there's people out there who genuinely shit on Salah or disrespect him or disrespect his legacy in the Premier League. If you notice with me, I never really do that. I'm not a huge fan of the guy because he's Egypt's best player and Liverpool's best player, but respect. Come on, bro. It's unarguable now. He is an all-time great of the Premier League. He's one of the best in that position we've ever seen. And in terms of production from the wing, bro, come on. How many players ever from the flank can you think of that have the production and the inevitability that Mohamed Salah does? He is a consistent 15 goals plus, maybe even 20 goals plus at this point, and 10 plus assists. And I understand. I'm the guy who's always saying stats aren't everything. But let's not act like they're nothing. Let's not act like they're nothing, chat. The guy's a phenom, man. Honestly. For as much as I like to look at Salah and say, oh, he's never won AFCON, or, oh, Egypt don't win as much with him compared to that. Forget all that. That's just lighthearted fun, right? If we're being objective here, and that's what I like to do on this channel, say it as it is, it's inarguable now, man. Honestly, even his biggest critics, what is there left to say anymore? What is there left to say? He has the consistency. He has the longevity. He has the numbers. And now, even from an eye test point of view, bro, he's doing things that are incredible. I think it often gets underspoken about or understated. Salah has that Trivela on lock. As I once said about Joao Cancelo, Salah has that left-footed Trivela from right to left on absolute lock. Yo, people act like Salah technically is a bum. That's not an easy skill or trait to kind of possess and be able to play whenever you want. He has it on lock. So, look, right? I see the natural comparisons to Hazard. That's where, for me, right? I always say when it comes to the best players and the greatest of all time, it comes down to to preference. And if you notice, I remember that SDS clip that went viral a few years ago where I was defending Hazard and Liban was cooking him. One thing I promise you, chat, if you go back to that video, I promise you, you will never ever find me once in that video slandering Salah. My whole thing is I feel like Hazard gets disrespected, but I don't ever bring down Salah to hype up Hazard. And for me, they're such different players, and one is gone, one is still playing. For me, it's a waste of time even comparing them. If you think Salah is better, I have no issue with you. If you think Hazard is better, I got no issue with that too. For me, the people who act like it's disgraceful to even talk about them in the same breath, that's where I think it gets a little unfair, because I think people forget as well too how brilliant Hazard was in the league. But you don't always have to bring up Hazard when we talk about Salah, and vice versa as well too. Right now, Hazard is gone. This is Salah's time. And people keep trying to write him off every single year. Every year, we're talking about other players. Every year, we're saying Lamine is here. Bukayo Saka is here. Rodrigo is here. Haaland is now the face. It's De Bruyne's league. It's this guy. It's this guy. It's this guy. Salah's getting older. He can't dribble anymore. Oh, he wasn't there. Every single year, people doubt him. And every single year, the guy comes up, plays his season, scores against your favorite team, and ends up with 20 goals, 10 assists. Book it. It's inevitable. That's enough on Salah. One thing's for sure. I think after this weekend, anybody who doesn't have him or Haaland in your FPL, get on that shit. Get on that shit. But the other guy I want to talk about is Trent. Oh, man. I know Salah had the assist, right? It's a brilliant run from Salah for Jota's goal. He evades his defender. His run is brilliant. And the selflessness to play in Jota, brilliant. The finish from Jota, great as well too. But the vision from Trent at right back to play Salah the way he did, it reaffirms again, chat, again. I got so much shit for saying it. Playing Kyle Walker there during the Euros over this transcendent of a talent from right back. In all of Gareth Southgate's tenure as England managers, he did some amazing things. He did some boneheaded things. But for me, what will ultimately encapsulate and sum up his era and sum up how negative he would play at times was the fact that he would favor a washed up, past it Kyle Walker over the most unique profile at right back that the game has on offer right now. And people thought I was hating on Trent when I said in midfield, forget about it. The guy's not a great midfielder, and he never will be, in my opinion. He's so good at right back, man. Why would you want to take what he provides you from right back and nullify it and negate it and put a ceiling on it by putting him in midfield? He is running games from right back. Chat, off the top of your head, how many right backs ever can you think of that ran games from right back? And the ones that you can think of, did they ever get moved into midfield? Maybe Philipp Lahm. And Philipp Lahm is a different case to Trent. I think just the way Philipp Lahm thought the game, it was always an easy transition into midfield. Zanetti as well too, but Zanetti was never as influential from an offensive point of view as Trent. But honestly, the amount of guys that are this influential from their position, you're talking about the likes of that guy. I don't want to give him too much praise right now, but Dani Alves, like Cafu, Lam. That's the quality, the caliber of right back that have the skill set and the level of influence that Trent does. You're talking about the greatest of all time. And he's always going to have that thing over his head about the defending and, oh, you can get at him. I'm never going to argue that. I think at times, too, people try and overplay that Trent is this, oh, he's actually a good defender. Trent's a lazy defender for me. I actually think when Trent locks in and wants to defend, he's a fully capable defender. For me, Trent, his biggest issue defensively is his focus levels. But when he's offering you what he does on the ball, bro, you have to live and die with his weaknesses because his strengths I don't think there's a single fullback alive playing right now that offers you what he does. That's the way I view it. Liverpool look good. I think it's a case, right? We're going to have to see. These first few games for everybody, you have to take with a pinch of salt because all of these guys are still learning. All of these guys are still trying to gel their team and their image. This is not Arne Slot's ultimate Liverpool team. I'm sure he'd like to make a few signings. Look, the first half was kind of the perfect encapsulation that this team still hasn't gotten his ideas completely. So take it with a grain of salt. The most important thing for all these teams is results. United, Chelsea, all of them, it's the same thing. I would say the same thing for them. But I have to say, Liverpool look like they will be in and around those top 4 positions again this year. And as I said, my prediction, when you have Van Dijk, when you have Alisson, when you have Trent, and when you have Salah, top 3 minimum players in their position in world football, I find it very difficult to believe, along with the rest of the gulf of talent that they have at their disposal, that Liverpool will not make the top 4. I just think players like that can consistently get you out of problems. And most teams in the league don't have players of that caliber. I do think Szoboszlai looked good, kind of playing in more of like an attacking midfield position. Maybe at times last year under Klopp, he was kind of restrained a little bit, even though I think he has to take some responsibility in that regard too. He's a grown man. He's a professional. But it looked good. I think Szoboszlai throughout preseason and against Ipswich, you're starting to see a bit more signs of the creative midfielder that Liverpool bought. Do Liverpool need another signing though? Is this midfield enough? They started with McAllister and Gravenberch. And Gravenberch looked okay. Gravenberch did pretty decently in that deeper midfield. But I still think they need that boss in midfield. That Fabinho-esque player. I don't know if that player is on the market. I think United are really trying to find that one and they're struggling. Liverpool are trying to find that kind of player and they're struggling. When you look at a player like Lavia and the way he performed today, bro, I think Liverpool and United would be in dreamland with a player like that. But it's a very difficult position to kind of find.